connection, we should be talking all things election. As you know, we can talk about it right up until Thursday, after which we have to, chill. Those are the regulations. But this morning, our guest is Mike Igini. Mr. Igini is a former resident electoral commissioner for Akwa Ibom State, and since then, he has been, very all things vocal on elections and what Nigerians need to know about BVAS and any newfangled things about this election. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Yoria. Good morning, Nigerians.
Indeed. Well, it's the week. We have arrived. It looked like it was far away. Now it's just days away. So what, we're talking about this before coming on air. The essentials, what every Nigerian needs to just have at its fingertips to know about BVAS and all things 2023 election, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Yori, for having me, and good morning to entire people of our country, Nigeria, and wishing every one of us, people of our country, and indeed our country, a very hopeful and successful election in 5 days' time. And I think, Yori, thank you very much for all that we've been doing together since September last year as part of our contributions to give meaning and purpose to the ballot as the best means of the expression of the will of the people in a democracy. Mm-hmm. And so the hour is so close, it's nearby. And the question you raised are what are the issues that the Nigerian people need to know? First and foremost, may I say this here, that this election that is coming up, on account of the current legal templates, the INEC innovations and procedures that have been developed to give meaning and purpose to the ballot, clearly has taken power back to the Nigerian people. The people are now at the center of our electoral democracy, whereas the candidates themselves will now be at the periphery. So their fate will be determined by the people. And that is why it is essential that as 5 days to, we need to know the following. One, my first message, which is part of my closing engagement since last year for Nigerians, is that first, this morning, from Abia State to Zamfara State, wherever you are, please, if you have your telephone, there's something that I've sent to your station now that we should put out there, and that is that the first thing is to try and determine your status in the register of voters, as well as your location exactly, which is very simple. All you need to do is just to go to www.cvr.admin.inec Nigeria or cvr.admin.inec Nigeria. It will take you straight to a page where it will require you to enter your last name, your first name, the state you are, whether you are in Zamfara, you are in Delta, you are in Abia. It will show the state there because you need to check your name on the register now before that election and to also know your exact location. Once you log in on that, it will take you to that page and will be making those requirements, your date of birth. Once you do that, it will show clearly to you your exact location of your polling unit so that on that day, you don't need to go anywhere. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Number two is that there is a pyramid which I've also sent to the station, clearly showing that this election will be a reflection of our collective character and behavior as a people, because that pyramid shows clearly that this election, who will become what on account of the innovations that have now been secured by the 2022 Electoral Act, everything is back to you. So if you look at that pyramid, you will find that on the top, you find the headquarters, which is Abuja. In the last 4 years, Abuja has been doing so much to prepare this country for this election. But elections are actually conducted at the state level. So the next stage on the pyramid, you are going to find the state. That's state offices where you have resident commissioners. Now, after the state, by way of what they call exchange of batting, because materials have now been taken to the various states right now, under the custody of the presiding officer, wherever they are domiciled, etc. bank. Thereafter, those ballot papers and result sheet will now be taken to the local government. At the local government level, all right, from that point, they will also now be handed over eventually to what they call the supervising presiding officers, who are going to be in charge of various RA or wards. Now, please take note of this. From the point of supervising presiding officer down to the last person, which of course is the returning officer with respect to each of the election, you'll find out that all of these persons that constitute over 1 million people, they are not INEC staff. These are Nigerians. And that is why this will show to you that the success or failure of election is essentially a reflection of the commitment of the people. I mean, we all know that in our institutions across our country where we have weak institutions, we have weak individuals in the system and all that. Now, assuming that just less than 20,000 staff of INEC nationwide, which are about 60,000 or thereabout, assuming that every one of them, everyone is bad, which is not true, which is not correct, what about over 1 million people who are now fully in charge? Yori, I said this so that people who are doing things that are unnecessary to stay away from that. First, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, on the basic day pyramid, who are in charge of election on that day, all the permanent staff of INEC, that is the INEC chairman, the national commissioner, the resident commissioner, electoral officers.
Okay, just the audio ceased there, but Mike, we'll get Mike back, and he's just made an important point from the point of view of knowledge that largely people, over 1 million of them, if I heard him correctly, that will be working on behalf of INEC, are actually ad hoc staff. Okay, Mike, you're back. Sorry, we lost you. There was a dropout. Mike, can you hear me? There was a dropout. So, but I just wanted to sort of, I wanted to bring it back, what you were saying that I thought was very important, which is that up to 1 million people that will be working on behalf of INEC on that day were actually not staff of INEC.
Yes.
And therefore, everything...
INEC, they are Nigerians.
But they are Nigerians. But they are ad hoc staff. And this is necessary. Otherwise, you can't, you can't have INEC having 1 million staff, I don't know. So people just need to know that. And that's where you come from when you say that it will be a reflection of maybe how we are.
Our collective values, our commitments, our national character. In fact, the whole world, this election is going to be a referendum on the entire people of this country. That you have laws. We thank God that all the election rigging provisions that you have in the statutes that we fought for 20 years, we thank the National Assembly. We thank Mr. President Mohammed Buhari, for appending his signature and buried those sections, section 49, section 53, 49, that gave untrammelled power to presiding officer, on the basis of which you say, if he's satisfied, can give ballot power to anybody, it's gone. Section 53, that usually based on the total number of registered voters instead of those who actually came, in which case, in time past, those who have died, those who showed up, because you have a computation under Section 53 of the Now Repeal Act that based computation on total number of registered voters, in which case there's a margin for rigging, for thumbprinting and all that. That section is gone. You now
okay,
have
let me bring some. Mike, 1 second, please. You might have seen the news item. I think the internal affairs people, they actually said that they intercepted at our borders, in the north, a lot of non-Nigerians coming in, NIM certificates, the national identification numbers. They actually have national identification numbers. They have PVCs. But of course, they have been detained. They have been stripped of those essential documents. Of course, there's the wonder that how did people who are not Nigerians have these things. So you see, as INEC is working, there appear to also be those that are also flat out seeing what they can do to compromise the situation. I mean, Nigerians, we're supposed to know ourselves, but people are coming in that internal affairs tells us are not Nigerians, and they have dispossessed them of those Nigerian exclusive documents, and I hear that they will be referring them back to INEC for INEC to strike their names off.
Yes, that's a sad commentary. It's a reflection of how things have gone so bad in our country. Under the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 12 of the Act, it's only Nigerian citizens that are entitled to name number as well as the permanent voter's card to vote. A non-Nigerian is not allowed to vote in our country. Now, because you have very porous border, you have all kinds of people coming into the country who are already have created security problem for us. Iori, we just talked about, we just told about those who were being arrested. What about the many, many out there? Nigeria needs a total reset. It is my hope that this current coming election, this election that is coming, that is so important, that Nigerians have so much invested their hope in terms of the massive participation that we have seen, will be an opportunity to reset our country, such that all those things that have happened, those registration, of course, they'll be cleaned up. They'll be cleaned up. Steps will be taken in due course. But for now, let's focus on this election. But we must say that whereas these numbers of persons have been apprehended, what about the men that are out there? That is an issue which we need to deal with after we now have a new reset, a process of resetting of our country. So that we respect to that.
Yes.
Now, what are the essential features of these elections? This election is an election that's going to be of its own class. As I've said over and again, as part of my closing remarks, my closing message to the Nigerian people is that power is back to you. Hope is reborn in you. Because the beavers have the following essentials. One, for you to be allowed to vote on election day, you must come with your permanent voter's card by virtue of Section 47 of the current Act. Now, the beavers do the following. Number one, it is that it is used to confirm, to verify, and authenticate your biometric. In the unlikely event that at least one finger could not be confirmed, of course, that's why they call biometric. We now do what we call facial accreditation. Nobody can run away from that. That is what led to the elimination completely and finally of the use of incident form. So nobody can run away from the beavers. The beavers, again, at the end, the beavers, I must say this here, that it has been designed in a way that for the purpose of negligence of presiding officer on account of our experience with the corridor, that despite the instruction to presiding officers that in the course of your accreditation, at every interval, you have to upload the accreditation data to the central server. Because they didn't do that in time past, the current beavers have been designed in such a way that even when it is idle, when the presiding officer even is doing something else, it will be uploading on its own. But at the end of the poll, a presiding officer is expected to do what we call the final push of the entire number of accreditation to the central server. This is the beauty about the beavers. Now, the beavers, after you have done all of that, and by virtue of Section 60, of the current act, a presiding officer must enter the result, the data total of accreditation, as well as the result on the form EC8A. Now, at that point, you need the party agent must be there to sign and to countersign that result. Now, the fundamental, perhaps far more important role of the beavers is that at the end of the poll, after giving the duplicate of form EC8A to the party agent, the presiding officer is required to snap the image, take the photo image of the Form EC8A, and is enjoined under Section 16, subsection 4 and 5, mandatorily, failure of which it will be attracting none less than 6 months imprisonment on $500,000 fine. You must upload that data, so that's the result.
Now, okay, now Mike, one moment, please. One moment, Mike. I wanted you to sort of explain how in the recent Osun election, it was found that there was overvoting on both sides, as a matter of fact, both of the primary candidates. I thought with all the technological devices and advancements and hard work that INEC had done, in spite of that, it was found that there was overvoting, that the courts had to adjust by doing subtractions and new figures. That can't happen again. I mean, did we learn anything from that so that we can know that that is being frontally addressed?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You know, at the moment, the matter is already before the court. And as a lawyer, would try as much as possible to restrain from a matter that is already sub judice. The only thing I did...
No, but the fact, sorry, sir, the fact that it was ascertained that there was overvoting.
No, that is not correct. Let me quickly say that.
Okay.
That is not correct. And I was very emphatic, and nobody has challenged me since I came out, because I knew there was an orchestrated plan to discredit the beavers. And that's why I came out using an analogy. And simple analogy is this. If I can say something, you put it out so the Nigerian can say it. Quickly, using Akwa Ibom, for instance. So you can extrapolate this example to deal with any situation, either coming or in the future. For instance, in this polling unit, at the end of the poll, I said 70 out of the total number of 150 people that were accredited in this polling unit, where I am now. Mr. Yori, now, at the end of the poll, while I was sorting, counting, and all of that, the beavers on its own, as designed, had already uploaded another 30, making a total of 100. Meanwhile, on the result sheets, you have 150 accredited voters on the result sheets.
Okay.
Are you getting the point?
Yeah.
Now, but I am supposed to do the final push, which I failed to do as a presiding officer. Nevertheless, it has not in any way compromised the 50 that is left. So what it had in effect is only 100. But I didn't know all of this and all that. Now, at the end of the poll, Mr. Johnson, who participated in the election in this Akwa Ibom instant example I'm giving, went to INEC office and requested for a certified copy of the back-end report of the total number of accreditation. Now, the first thing that the INEC officer ought to do, should do, having regard to the fact that you have the Form EC8 result showing 150, in this example we are giving in Akwa Ibom State, was first and foremost to check the total number of, check the result sheet, and now go to the system. If you went to the system and you find that it was only 100 that was actually uploaded, all you needed to do as the certifying authority is to request the applicant, Mr. John, to please come back 2 hours time or day after tomorrow, as the case may be, because I could see here that the total number of accreditation have not been fully uploaded. Now, this was not done. This was not done. We were now given to John a certified copy of uncompleted, incomplete back-end report showing 100 instead of 150, which on the face of it erroneously may suggest overvoting, which is not. I repeat, which is not. Now, by the time I gave that to John, John went to file. When he went to file, he also put out in the media. Now, when Abuja found out that, oh, this is what happened, a call was made to Akwa Ibom and requested, look, Beaver, so, please check. What we have here is 100. when it was checked, it was found out that the VIN number, the voter identification number unique for each voter in Nigeria, 50 was still left. 50 was still left, all right, on the beavers. So he now decided to upload it immediately. When it was now uploaded, if you add 50 to 100, which was the first one that had been there, it gives you 150. If you check it from EC8A, it gives you 150. Now, after that had been done, let's say this now becomes what they call second report. Now, second report, I haven't given the first one, which was incomplete, and all from the same primary source. Now, what happened? Mr. Dele now came, who also, Mr. Ekanem, who also participated in the election, now came and requested for CTC. Now, at the time Abuja was not giving CTC to Ekanem, he now gave Ekanem the full, complete report of 150 as contained in the form EC8A, that the duplicate already with the first applicant, Johnson, who came for the stuff. Now, when that becomes what you call second report, which means fully uploaded total number of accreditation. Now, when at the tribunal, on the other tribunal, which is common in Akwa Ibom, the tribunal, by its own order, ordered for inspection of these particular beavers, of where the first report was 100, the second was now 150, which tallies with what's on the primary report. On the basis of that, there was what we call stakeholder inspection. The concept of all the both Ekanem and Johnson, they were all together. When they opened the beavers, they found out that 50 was left uploaded as at the time the first report was given. But as at the time the second was moved, it already, the date will be there and all that. Now, what you now have between us here are 3 reports. First, not complete. Second, complete. Third, complete, on the basis of the order of the court. What's now left for the court is to deal with the report, that because the 3 of them emanated from the same over, the total number of valid votes exceed the total number of accreditation, even by 1, that becomes overvoting. In this instance I gave to you of a particular plaint of 150, there is no overvoting. This can be extrapolated to any scenario, anywhere, anytime, any day. So the beavers has brought tremendous energy of hope, of integrity, that has put the Nigerian voter at the center of electoral democracy and put what you call the candidate at the periphery. That is why the incident of vote buying has become a major issue right now, because they now pay attention to the people. Before now, nobody pays attention to the people. They have no respect for the Nigerian people. But what we decided, what to say, look, in any democracy, the respect for the people is the beginning of responsible leadership. That is what the beaver has come to do. So I will try to close my thought on the beaver, that the beaver as it is, Yori, the only thing you can do is to destroy it. There is nothing that you can do with the beavers at all. Okay. That is why in various upland or riverine areas, for example, in Delta where I come from, some funny votes used to get, some terrible votes from riverine areas. All those ones are all over. All the tilapia, all the species of fishes you to have in that area, they must come before the beavers now. You can no longer, come up with vote anyhow, because at the moment, you're the final point on this, with respect to the beavers. At the end of the poll, in the entire 176,606 where election will be conducted because of the 240 that be removed from the earlier total number of vote PU in Nigeria, I can now tell you that on account of section 51 that has changed section 53, which now deal with actual number of people who came on that day, a new register will be produced in every polling unit. Wow. This is the game changer. Because maybe last point is that, as you yourself, as a work relations officer, before now, as a presiding officer, you will not have communication with me. But today, as a work relations officer, you have access to the result. You have seen it. It's going to be on the public viewing portal. And that is why in Edo State, over 2 million people were asked to access it. So in each of the polling, you are going to see the result. Before the end of the poll, everybody would have known the winner of the election. There will be no tension.
Okay, that's good to know. And initially, when you started at the top, you were explaining how it was very easy for individuals just using their cell phone to check where the polling center is. Because it might have seemed a bit, complicated, all the web site addresses. I'm sure if they were to go to INEC's main site, there will be a link there to these all-important sections of it that you say, where people could fill in. I'm sure the INEC's website itself will direct you to that particular portal.
Go to Google. Just go to Google. Just type in there. It just take you straight to the place, and you see the page saying, check your status. Once you just put your name and all that, seconds.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that there are a lot of people. I just wanted to be sure that just about anybody could go to the
from Abia to
website
Zamfara State, you can
and
do
then
that
say
right
check
now.
your status. I'm sure there's going to be a link on there somewhere.
And the location of your polling unit.
Yes. Okay then. You know what? Thank you, Mike. Let's take a break now. I'll take a short break. Be right back. Yeah. We'll continue with this conversation, and of course, any calls that come in, towards the election on Saturday. Stay with us, please.
Campaigns for the 2023 elections proceed at intense pace for the All Progressives Congress APC. When the chiefs were down, President Muhammad Buhari showed up to add bite to the APC campaign. At the APC presidential rally in Lafayette, Nasarawa State, President Buhari reaffirmed his commitment to the party's cause when he declared support for the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I am very pleased today to be part of this campaign for Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The president told Nigerians to keep hope with the APC and Tinubu.
I will continue to campaign for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is a committed Nigerian, and I believe he will give all he has to this country and to you Nigerians.
No controversy, no division, as the APC campaign train forges ahead in one accord. Vote APC. Vote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for president and Kashim Shettima for vice president.
Okay, welcome back, and our guest is Mike Igini, former resident commissioner for Akwa Ibom State, and we're talking all things election, and in particular, the special aspects of BVAS. Mike, as you heard, in these dynamic, let me just use that word then, in these dynamic times, Mr. President has said that what he wants to be his legacy will be free, credible, and fair election. So all of this, I think earlier you had sort of referred to him and his efforts towards this end. This is what we're talking about. The elections, you've explained that technologically it's sort of locked down. You can't do anything destroy your PVC. But beyond that, so what we're saying is that it's a lot more difficult. You won't be getting the Tysons of this world seeking to vote. You won't be getting underage voters. We have both noted that it was very unfortunate that non-Nigerians are flashing PVCs and flashing NIM certificates. And then there's another kind of certificate for them, being that they're all ECOWAS members, and that would be NIM for migrants, not for nationals. Yes. But it's unfortunate that anything seems to, go in Nigeria. That, however, should not be a problem, right, Mike? Now that the authorities are saying to us that they've apprehended them, they sort of sent them back.
Yeah.
And then this whole idea of submitting those bogus documents, well, they're not bogus, but it's just that they were wrongly, because they seem to be genuine, but were wrongly issued. INEC is able to amend its own records now that a due authority has said that these people are not Nigerians. They have Nigerian documentation. Can you strike them off your records? Can INEC do that?
Yeah, sure. First and foremost, by the fact that these people are already in custody.
That, Mike, I'm sorry. They don't need, because the news report says that the immigration officials have, sent them back to whence they came from. But in the meantime,
okay, great. Yeah.
In
Okay,
the meantime, I beg your pardon. Ada in Jos has called in. Good morning, Ada.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yori. Good morning, Mr. Igini. I'm just calling from Jos Plateau State. Thank you for the information, but I've just tried it. I've tried the website. My own page is not opening, but I will keep on trying. But assuming it doesn't open, what next? What can one do? Mr. Igini, I hope you're listening to me.
He can hear you.
What can
yes,
one
I'm
do?
listening to you very well. Yeah.
My page is not opening. Okay, now, apart from that, is this worrisome aspect of non-Nigerians registering and having names? It's not just enough to send them back or imprison them. What is INEC doing? How did they get registered? Let's go to the bottom of it. That's the problem we have in Nigeria for future elections. Why should non-Nigerians register in Nigeria? Why? What is it all about? No wonder some people keep on saying that they have the numbers. That is the numbers they're talking about. When you have non-Nigerians registering, that is what used to cause a problem. A credible register gives rise to a credible election, and it reduces the litigations in court. So let's INEC try and get it right. Now I'm very happy about the divas. It's a game changer. Provided it's devoid of human interference, INEC should caution its staff on not compromising. The agents of political parties should also be vigilant, and also some of the voters that will wait for the votes to be counted and reconcile with the number of voters accredited by the divas. Those people should be there. All of us cannot be there. The younger ones can be there. That is a few of them. We should go out on 26th February to vote the candidate with character, competence, capacity, and compassion. Let's not give up on Nigeria because of the cash crisis, etc.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yori, very quickly to that.
Sure.
She could go to www.cvr.inecnigeria.org. www.cvr.inecnigeria.org. Just go there. All right. And before the program, I could also give you another one that you send the 9 digits, the digit of your of your V number, and all that.
But Ada just told us that she had checked it out. But just in case there are other people who are not as adept. But what you just said is PV. I just wanted to get that address again. Did you say PVR? INEC Nigeria, one word.
C like communication, V like Victor, R like Roland. This one. Yes. Now they can try that. Again, Iori, interested about the beavers that has brought there with so many shenanigans. Before now, at the polling unit, party agents, those sponsored by political parties, they just be mere agents. At the end of the poll, there's what they call sharing, or there's an organized crime in polling unit. They call sharing of unused ballots. With the current system, there's no more unused ballot to be shared anymore. Because every V number that must be on the beavers as evidence of accreditation must have been somebody who was physically present at the polling unit.
Wait, Mike, Mike, is that a thing? There actually in the past used to be a sharing of unused ballots.
Unused ballot, that is at the end of the poll, a presiding officer is required by INEC instruction to cross all the unused ballots. But what happened was that they will not do so. Politicians will compromise the party, the pool officials, that is presiding officer, including party agents that were even sponsored. Let me inform you. Most of the party agents that you see, parties that are now supporters club you have in Nigeria, they are sponsored by the big parties, so that when they get to that point, or where you don't even have party agent at all, what they will now do is to share the unused ballot. At that time, and that was supported by Section 53, that was basic computation on total number of registered voters, instead of those who actually came, which is now the new law.
Wow.
This is the game changer that we're having now. That is why you no longer have this of what you call inconclusive election. Inconclusive election, where on account of the fact that computation of voting was based on total number of registered voters instead of those who actually came, which is more realistic. For 20 years, we have been fighting this. We have been fighting this.
Okay,
we are happy.
Mike, Let me bring on...
knows no bad.
Okay, let me bring on Chris. Chris is calling in from Ijebu-Ode. Good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, yes. I want to thank Mr. Igini for sharing more light on the use of the beavers. Yes, hello?
We can hear you.
Yes. My concern is the electoral umpire, which is the INEC. They should be, just like they saw at that post as it should be. Yes, and hello?
Chris, we can hear you. Please
yes.
Carry on.
The issue of...
Okay, Chris, you drew it out, much longer than it needed to be, but thank you for calling.
No, Yori,
yes.
Yori, you know why Nigerians should be upbeat? They should be happy with themselves. That politicians, they are not going to determine the fate of politicians in our country. Do you know that? All those rubbish people are telling politicians, please don't spend your money for anybody. Any INEC official or all those who are claiming to be INEC official are coming to tell you that there's a preloading of beaver. There is not that preloading of beavers. They just want to scam you. We have ICT scammers, 419, that are out there. Regrettably, many of the politicians in the world of ICT is a completely different world to them. Many are totally illiterate when it comes to that. Even some of us, we are even just struggling to try to make sure that we adapt. So politicians, people are going to them. If a cleaner in INEC can tell a politician that I will do this for you and you're going to spend money, you are going to waste your money.
Okay.
There's no preloading of beavers. Nothing like that is not going to happen. And there's no way you can bypass beavers. That is the truth of the matter.
Okay, one moment, Mike, one moment. Let me bring on Mr. George calling in from Ikeja.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, Mr. George.
And greetings to Mr. Igini. Uncle Yori, I have 3 questions for Mr. Igini. If you can give me time to please ask him.
Sure.
The first one concerns hacking. We have been hearing about what some known INEC portal in order to compromise this coming election. How foolproof is INEC portal?
Okay, so that's the first one. Let me get the other 2 quickly, please. That's the first one.
The second one has to do with the beavers explanation he made.
Okay.
If the explanation Mr. Igini made is anything to go by, how is it that on the case in Oshu, INEC produced 3 types of beavers reports? If the explanation he gives on the workings of beavers is like that, and after elections, the party is coming to ask for beavers report, is it not better to give the final that all these ones are showing?
Okay, and the third one, finally.
How come also that the overvoting that was in contest there, most of them took place in one zone? So the third one is about posters. I don't know what INEC is doing about foreign countries coming to dictate or to conduct polls when elections are coming in our country.
Okay, posters.
This is the person who will win this, the other. It's inciting the public against each other.
Okay, let me take this to Mike. Let me take this to Mike. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr.
Very
George.
quickly, yes, Yori, yes, on hacking, the beavers and the Irish election, there have been efforts to hack, but all have failed because INEC had used sufficient firewall. As a matter of fact, I will not speak to certain details on that for the purpose of those who are out there working against the system. Number 2, with respect to hacking, INEC collation process is a dual process. The duplicates from EC88 is given to party agent, assuming without conceding that there's a likelihood, it could be hacked and all that. What about the original copy given to your party agent? And that is why we have said, by virtue of Section 43 of the Act, candidates, political parties, set up your situation room now. Set up your situation room now. You don't need to wait for INEC. As a matter of fact, Yori, if, for example, and I'm supposed to come to you to present to you the form EC8A original, a party agent who has just been given the duplicate, he will immediately snap that and send to the what you call their situation room, and they'll be doing their collation. Do you know now that, Yori, that political parties candidate, they will be ahead of INEC in collation process. They will be ahead of INEC. So in terms of hacking, we've not had that situation. Anybody can, you see, this is what is going on now. I don't want to say certain things here on this platform.
Okay.
Because I know how politicians have been duped in the past. That with respect to hacking. In the case of Oshun, I've said that before.
You've spoken on that. Yeah.
The analogy I gave
and I beg your pardon, I'm going to interrupt you at this stage.
There's nothing like that.
Mike, I'm going to interrupt you here because, you've spoken about BVAS, as you've just said, but there's also outstanding the pollsters, all these polls that are coming up now.
Yes,
Mr. Joe spoke about that. But before you go there, I want to bring in Dr. Ejiwumi, who has called in from Ile-Ife. Good morning, Dr. Ejiwumi.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
I appreciate all that you have been discussing so far, and I want to thank the guest that we have this morning.
The former
officer.
Yeah, the former resident commissioner.
Use of BVAS machine
for Akwa Ibom
that will be uploaded, whose data will be uploaded over and over. Why don't we have machines that we can use to upload data of the election only once, not one time, second time, third time? Why? The second one has to do with the case of Abia. I'm not going to make reference to Oshun, as our guest has been describing, where we have 3 diverse reports, and they don't even agree with one another. How are we going to account for that occurrence? Thank you, sir.
All right, then. Thank you.
So, Yori, let me just quickly, let me butt in here.
Sure.
I don't know why we are not understanding ourselves on this here. You know, my only interest, I'll be very clear from day one. For 10 years, I've been working, we're fighting for this country. And that is that when there's a lie, there's a complete lie. I am saying that there's a negligence on the administratively on the part of the issuing authority. If when an applicant makes an application to have the back-end report, you have a duty to ensure that everything has been uploaded. You should have checked. That was not checked. Now, if you are insisting, sometimes you have to where even the applicant will insist that, look, give me whatever you have. All that ought to have been done, in respect of the Akwa Ibom example I gave, is to mark it interim report of back-end server report. You should have marked interim report.
That's right.
If it was marketed report, that would have been a constructive notice that something was still yet left behind. Now, if the second report was on account of the fact that when they now realized, because already the media, that what was given is short of this 100, short of what you have on the form ECA, which is supposed to be 150, that may appear to be overvoted, which is not.
You've explained that, yeah.
Akwa Ibom was called. It was called, and the report, the other 50 was added. That gives you 150. Now, the third one people are talking about, that when you go to tribunal, like what is going to happen, this is also going to happen, they are going to call for inspection of material. When you inspect material, it's going to be everybody. Now, here is one final point I'll make on so that I don't go into that matter and all that. In the case of Akwa Ibom, we're referring to, which can be extrapolated what happened either in Oshu elsewhere, is that we know when you go to tribunal, the places where you have the same thing, because the other party, you also have places where they won, but the total number of the accredited was.
I hear you, Mike. I think you've explained that. Maybe he. Okay, Mike, maybe he missed it. You've explained that, as you said. Let me bring in Mr. Joshua in Irewolede. Good morning, Mr. Joshua.
Okay, good morning, and good morning to Mike Igini.
Thank you. Good morning.
I would only say he has spoken very well, and we continue to appreciate you, Uncle Yori, for giving us this platform to educate us, to inform us, and to enlighten us. I would say with his what is going on, all of us Nigerians should take this opportunity to create a revolution. This is the right revolution using our PVCs. I will appeal to my colleagues. Nigeria is good enough for us. We are Nigerians. We make the country what we want it to be. let us have peace and go for this election. If we have, churches go for 100 days fasting, 50 days fasting. If we have to go for 7 days fasting, no money, no food, let us just make this transition happen. Let there be peace everywhere. So my colleagues in Nigeria, please, we need to get this done. Thank you, Buhari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua, calling in from Irewolede. Mike, would you like to because time is running out, but would you like to comment on the pollsters, those polls you were going to, but the polls that are coming in?
On pollsters, let me say this here. Look, on pollsters, let me tell you here. Nigeria cannot be in the autarky of other parts of the world. The Fran Act is a direct campaign by any foreign nation, all right, that vote for this or vote for that. With respect to a poll, that can be done. Even while we're Nigeria, we're not also making assessment of what will happen in the US. So I don't think that's really a serious issue to be worried about. I think that what is important is that we now have a law. We have a process. Because Alexander Pope made the point that political corruption is the mother of all kinds of corruption. And that is what we have ensured by ensuring that we design a process that will give meaning and purpose to the ballot and put Nigerian people at the center of democracy. What is going to happen on Saturday and subsequently is what we call to key on what the last speaker said. What we are going to witness is a peaceful electoral revolution that we have never seen before in our country. I must say this because the Yoruba say that, look, when the masquerade is, all the masquerade that be pursuing us, all we need to do is to put in more effort. As we get tired, the masquerade also get tired. This is where we are. Right
okay,
now,
one second. Let me now, our last caller is Ayodeji, who is calling in from Ikorodu. Good morning to you, Mr. Ayodeji.
Good morning to you, Buhari, and good morning, Mr. Igini.
Okay.
It's great to watch this platform this morning. Quickly, I want to confirm from Mr. Mike. I've heard situations where a couple of people who are supposedly agents, party agents, where I live in, says that they are willing to go to the extent of voting multiple times for their candidate. How is this possible?
Okay, that's a fine one. Thank you very much for calling in with that, Ayodeji from Ikorodu. Mike, very briefly, please.
Briefly, yes. That is not going to be possible. That's not going to be possible. But the point is this, that Nigerians get ready to go to the poll. We didn't have time to talk on other part, how results are manipulated, even at the last stage, as evidence happened in Akwa Ibom, which I wanted to use to tell people. But you see, what the commission has done is to ensure that we put Nigerian people at the center. You see, enough of the struggle to build individual paradise and live in a common herd in a country. This election is going to be a class of its own. Her Papa have always told us that every society has its own enemies, as contained in his book, Open Society and Its Enemies. Our duty is to ensure, because the way we have designed this process, Iori, after this election, many people on their own, we voluntarily don't want to be involved in politics. You see, a bird that does not have a strong stomach
time is winding down.
should not participate in the ceremony of a wokepa's father. And as we wind down, my greatest worry, and I've been asked this question over and again, of all the key stakeholder institutions, I must say this here, that my constituency, the judiciary, is my greatest worry before and after this election. What they will do, because we now got to a level.
How will the judiciary conduct itself? I take that. I think everybody can understand that. Enough said, Mike. We don't have time for much more. But we just heard what you just said, that the judiciary is something that we're yet to see how they will conduct themselves. I want to thank you very much, Mike Igini, a former resident. I am Yori Folare. Bye-bye for now.
Hukumar zaɓe mai zaman kanta ta ƙasa ce ta bullo da na'urar tantance masu kaɗa ƙuri'a mai suna IVED domin taimakawa hukumar wajen haɗa rijistar masu kaɗa ƙuri'a ta hanyar ci gaba da rijistar masu kaɗa ƙuri'a CVR. Hakanan na'urar na tabbatar da cewa an adana bayanan da aka tattara daga kowane ɗan ƙasa don yin hukunci a yayin da katin zaɓensa na dindindin ya ɓace ko kuma ya lalace. Ku tuna cewa wanda suka karɓi katin zaɓensu na dindindin ne kawai za su iya kaɗa ƙuri'a ranar zaɓe. Domin yi wa kanku rijista za ku iya ziyartar kowace cibiyar yin rijistar katin zaɓe da hukumar zaɓen ta ƙasa INEC ta amince da su, ko kuma ka fara rajistar ta yanar gizo ta hanyar ziyartar www.cbr.inecnigeria.org. Cike duk bayanan da aka bukata a kan fom ɗin da aka bayar, sannan kuma ka nemi zuwa ofishin hukumar zaɓe mafi kusa da kai domin kammalawa ta hanyar yin amfani da na'urar IVED. A matsayinka na ɗan Najeriya don tabbatar da cewa za ka iya kaɗa ƙuri'a a lokacin zaɓe, ya zama wajibi ka samu katin zaɓenka na dindindin wato PBC. Na'urar IVED na yin amfani ne wajen tattara bayanan kowane ɗan ƙasa, misali kamar dangwalen yatsa, ɗaukar hoto, da sauran bayanan da duk suka cancanta, wanda za a yi amfani da su wajen gane ka da su lokacin zaɓe. Bayan yin nasarar kammala komai da komai, za a baka takardar shaidar da za ka karɓi katin zaɓenka na dindindin a lokacin da ya kammala. IVED ingantacciyar na'ura ce da ake amfani da ita don ci gaba da rijistar zaɓe CBR. Idan kwanan nan ka cika shekaru 18 ko kuma ka jima da haura hakan, amma kuma baka yi rijistar a baya ba, to ku saurari lokacin da za a dawo a ci gaba da yin rijistar masu kai'a, kuma ku yi taku rijistar ta amfani da na'urar IVED. Ku tuna cewa yin rijista tare da IVED da kuma